Recording, we are live. Hello everyone, my name is Milan. Welcome to the MetaMorphosis Podcast. Today's topic is going to be, do not pursue women, pursue excellence. Before I even start going into this, I am going to tell you that if you are conditioned to believe that women are the center of the world, they are always meant to be in the center of your attention. You're focusing most of your life on women. Your life is centered around involving women in your processes and your journey. This is going to be very triggering for you. And I hope you have the stomach for that. And I hope that the things that I say, you don't take one personally, and you will, because it's going to affect your belief system and worldview system. And two, you are likely to be a blue pill, gynocentrically conditioned guy who has not woken up, who hasn't unplugged, and who hasn't understood the reality of intersexual dynamics and female nature. Now, this podcast and my work is not meant to in any way degrade, shame, blame women for their inherent being and nature and whatnot, but you will have your own judgment or not. At any rate, I'm going to keep going and doing this amazing work that keeps attracting attention, and that keeps being flagged on social media. And I'm gonna just tell you one very important thing that I think you should remember: that when we had COVID, that the same people who advocated against vaccines, who were telling this data, who were trying to go out with data, were flagged, deplatformed, censored, and no one actually trusted them. And I just want you to have that in mind. Just have in mind that if you don't like something, if something is not quite the appealing policy, then make sure at least that you go into it yourself and that you question to the tiniest itsy-bitsy detail whether this is valid or not. That's all I'm going to tell you about listening to me and my podcast. Now, why pursue excellence and not women? Because, and very simple, as a guy, the more you elevate yourself and the more you work on yourself, the higher you get, the more goals and ambitions you fulfill for yourself, for your personal being, the more quality women you will attract in your life, and they will come to you on their own. And I cannot even tell you enough how much this is true based on a personal example, but I'm not going to make this about myself, nor do I wish to disclose too many personal details here. But I've made changes within the past 8 months, which is pretty much since I've broken up my previous relationship, that resulted in unprecedented feeling about who I am as a man, what I want, my goals, my vision, my ambitions, this being one of them, the podcast. And one of the outcomes of that is an increasing attention from women. So you focus on yourself, you focus on what you want from your life, you are focused, you're determined to succeed, and don't forget, you build your frame as you grow, as you develop as a man. Because if you don't have a frame into which a woman can enter, you will not have a healthy and good relationship. Because if you don't have a frame, then you will attract a masculine woman who does. And that frame is also very shaky and sturdy because women are very hormonally volatile. You know this if you know female nature, and you know that they're hormonal due to their menstrual cycle. And this is nothing to bash women. This is just female nature. You know that they change their opinions often, that they have different emotions and feelings, and that they vary and they change. And it's difficult to negotiate with women exactly because of that. So you need to understand as a man that you will face these issues and difficulties. And if you do not have a frame that can hold such a woman, which is most women, then you won't make it in the relationship, and you will be just someone that this woman flips on, and you're just the next guy, and then the next guy, and then the next guy. And in a way, that shouldn't worry you, because A lot of women nowadays will actually statistically and according to the predictions be alone and single. Not that I wish that for them, not that I want them to be that, but women are playing a losing game today, which is one, pushing the period in which they give birth and start families. And I'm going to explain how. And two, they increase their standards, but they themselves are not aware that they're not working on themselves and improving and bettering themselves to be viable and eligible for a relationship or marriage. And we are thus losing traditionalism and relationships with our families, and we're getting scattered and fragmented. The states are benefiting on this, and that's why there's so much division between us men and women, but we will go into that some other time. You need to understand that as a guy, women come and go, and there is no one. If you're a guy, and this took me a lot of time to decondition from, because that's also a type of conditioning, and it does fit into the gynocentric narrative very well. If you believe that there is the one, then you will inevitably pedestalize women. So you will put women on a pedestal, you will treat them like queens, goddesses, and they will tell you that that's okay. And you prove nothing in that kind of an interaction because you simply do not prioritize yourself. You don't have the frame. You neglect your needs to fulfill a woman's needs. Instead of you doing that when you have your needs met, because you meet your needs to a certain point and degree, and then you meet in that space together when that is possible, and then grow in that relationship together. But most men do not have that, because most men do not have the basic conditions to thrive in. Because most men do not know how to establish their core values and beliefs. I mean, I'm not a fan of beliefs, but I guess, most of us have them. To establish the core values, to act in accordance with them, and to actually have freedom of choice. Because if you're a highly masculine man who is in his frame, you are characterized by one thing, and that is choice. So access to people, women, places, not limited in speech, not restricted in movement, not restricted in behavior. Of course, moving and acting mindfully, but not restricted. And that is the hallmark of powerful men, of men who also can afford to act in such a way. But we are so deeply conditioned to act a certain way that this is very difficult to do. And you need to understand that women come and go. And it is their choice to do that. And where we make mistake as men is that we do not present women with the consequences of leaving. And this is when we are called insecure and weak. This happened to me. So I'm telling you, I'm sharing with you, not in detail, I'm just sharing superficially, that this happened to me. That when I had my frame as a guy, and when I said, okay, if you want to leave, if you are leaving this, I'm no longer taking care of you. Not implying, of course, that the woman can't take care of herself or that she's not self-sufficient. No. If you leave this, I'm available to other women and I act accordingly because I chose you as a potential mate and the mother of my children. If you do not, for even a second, you don't want that? That is for me a no-go, a no deal, because we need to choose each other and people daily, every day. And if that's not the agreement, I would suggest that you walk away, always. And regarding women leaving, man, if women want to leave, or if you're the one breaking up with women, believe me, the more you focus on yourself, as I said, excellence, building excellence, becoming better at every aspect of your life in which you want to become better. Better speech, better dress, stronger body, increase your salary, increase your income, start that business that you've been talking about for 3 years. Just do it. Just do the things. And believe me, women will come to you naturally because women will see a successful man and they will see a good prospect of the future Women have that innate drive to see a man and to see potential in a man. And they will invest in that. They will invest their time and energy into a man that has high potential for success or is already successful. Because statistically, the percentage of men that are hyper successful is not that big. And those women that are, for example, average women, average in terms of sexual market value in the sexual marketplace, not individual worth, those two are different. Average women don't have access to high value men. But all women, due to hypergamy, would want to be with a high value man. And this is where we get so conflated, and this is where we have so much confusion and hatred between the sexes, because both men and women want better, but they don't understand the nature and the dynamics and how we actually interact with each other. That women, when they date and when they mate, they choose equal or above. And men are much less selective in that regard. So don't worry about meeting the one. Focus on yourself, focus on building whatever you're set to do, and have a goddamn vision. I know this is hard, and I know ambition is not maybe something that's your strongest trait. But if you focus on yourself, women will come. And they do come, trust me. They see, they know, because you will embody success. If you're successful, you won't even bat an eye. Believe me. And the only way for you to experience this is to live it. I can't tell you anything, and for you to just have to get you stars in your eyes and for you to say, oh yeah, I'm going to be like that so that I can feel this way. No. Success is something that you are. Success is something that you embody. You are that. Your body of work is you. You focus on the things that you're doing, that you love doing. And how do you know that? Because a lot of people are not going to like you. That is how you know that you're making it for yourself. Because if you're focused, because we are often taught and conditioned that as men, that everyone should like what you do and you should be doing work for the community. And you should be of use to the community. But if you believe in your work and your work hasn't reached the community in the way in which you want, then you still need to focus on your work and not care so much about what some community says, because you know yourself, you know your goals, your values, and you do your best to implement them in the world. When you achieve that level of success, when you just stop giving a damn what other people say or think, or if they do, don't engage with them unless they're willing to invest the same kind of energy to talk to you, because many people will just want to hit you. They just want to bite at you because they are dissatisfied with their lives and you are doing something that they don't like. And they will never admit that. They will never look you in the eyes and say, well, you know what? You're saying things that I can't say. And you're doing things that I don't have the capacity or balls to do. And I just don't think you're right. And when you challenge them to an open debate, they don't want to come. They want to meet you in private and just nib on take your time. Don't give people your time. Your time is the most valuable asset in the world. And if people don't have an intention of respecting your time, and if, again, remember this, like you have your frame. For example, my frame is whoever wants to talk to me, come to the podcast. You don't want to come to the podcast? Bye. Respectfully. Because I don't have time for anything else. I want to generate content for people who actually follow my podcast. And thank you so much, everyone who do that. I hear you. I read your messages. If you have something to say, which you either say on social media or anywhere, come to this podcast. Because if you have an opinion publicly and if you can take time to write a comment, come here and let's talk for 1 hour. Why not? Why not? What are you so afraid of? And that's how you know that people are not willing to invest their time, because they don't care about the truth. They don't care about the outcome. They just want to nib at you. They just want to strike you because you're doing something that provokes them. And don't focus on that. Just ignore those kinds of people, because they're everywhere. They're unfulfilled. They're unhappy. They have no purpose in their lives. They sit behind a computer. They keyboard all day long. They just type comments and they search for content to interact with because that's what gives them value. And that is not you. You are focused on improving yourself and getting away from that rat race and getting away from that. Because I only use social media to promote my own content. And I use social media to engage with the audience and people who like my content and who actually provide value and meaning to it. And that is it. Once again, when it comes to women, as I said, there is no one. So don't forget that. There is no like one perfect woman. You as a man, the more you grow, and I'm sorry, this is a highly controversial opinion. The more you grow, the more you're powerful, the more you realize that you will have more and more access to women, which will make you feel more and more powerful as a man. Which means that several women will want to be with you, and that several women will actually want to share you. And this concept is going to be absurdly incredible and impossible to accept to most people listening to this, because they will say, "Oh, is that polyamory? Is that this? Is that?" No. It's called dating non-exclusively. You are focused on yourself and on your work, and you have your frame. Women enter that frame, and you enforce boundaries, and you tell these women what you're about, and they decide whether they want to engage with you or not. You always offer a choice, because you offer the women also the choice of responsibility. Because if women want to enter your frame, if you say, "Hey, this is my work, this is what I do, I cannot commit to a relationship right now because I need to build enough resources so that I can actually sustain a family, so that I can sustain in a community, and I'm working on exactly that. For that to happen, I need this, I need that." And that means having standards as a man, as a person, and having boundaries and having a frame into which, as I said, a woman should come voluntarily. You're not forcing this on a woman. You are enforcing it through saying, "I cannot come tonight. I need to work on my business plan. I cannot come tonight. I need to focus on improving here. I need to go to the gym." Whatever you decide is important to you. And if you do not do that, women will walk all over you. Women will take your time. You will fall into their frame, and they'll hate you for that. Because they got duped. Because they got confused thinking, "Oh, I thought this was a high value guy. I thought this was a good guy. He looked ambitious and all this. And now we're spending all the time together and he's not doing anything with his life." And this happens to guys all the time. Don't forget that. This happens to guys all the time. And it's so common that it's embarrassing for guys to talk about it. Because they think they have the frame, and then they meet a good girl. They meet a girl who's, "Oh, she's decent. I haven't been with a girl for a while. She's decent, and she treats me right." And fair enough. I mean, of course, you should absolutely engage with women who treat you right. But then you spend time with them, you neglect your own projects, you don't grow, you don't improve, you don't do those things that will elevate you, that will get you out of the rat race, and that will get you out of the matrix. And guess what? It becomes dull. It becomes, "Oh, well, it's okay. It's nothing special, but it's okay." And you're not thriving in any of the fields. You're nowhere. You don't know what you're doing with your life. And I advise you to ask that of yourself daily. I ask you to, just ask. Like, if you're one of those spiritual people that I used to spend so much time with, just ask yourself questions. What am I doing with my life? Is this where I want to be? Is this the way I want to be expressing myself? Is this the message that I want to send? Is this the work I want? Is this the girl I want to be with? And if not, why am I here? Can I do better? And I don't mean better in terms of person is not good enough or worthy enough. Do you know what you want? Or are you, again, repeating your old patterns? You meet someone who is decent, and you're thinking, "Oh, they will improve and change for me. Oh, yeah, I see potential in this." And by all means, that's not a bad thing. That's an amazing thing. But work together with women. Learn how to collaborate with women. And try to meet women that are on the same page and that know what your frame is, because you demonstrate your frame. You show your frame. And your frame is as strong as your personal compatibility of fulfillment with your lifestyle. For example, are you happy with the apartment that you have? The food that you eat? Do you have money to spend on the things that you like? Or are you saving? Or are you taking away from that? If you don't resolve things like these, you are energetically drained. You are just, you're a walking zombie, and you're an accident waiting to happen. Believe me, because most people live lives of quiet desperation like this. Most people actually don't have their shit together, and most people are just quietly adapting to what is happening, and they're overlaying their reality by saying, well, I should just be grateful for this, and you should be. Don't get me wrong. You should always be grateful for what you have, because I personally believe that what you have now is something that you want. I know I do. What I have now is, yes, I just kissed my microphone, is something that I only dreamed of, let's say, last year. However, that is exactly the reason for you to utilize that gratitude to say, aha, I have this now. How do I use it to my best ability to keep improving my life and to actually create the conditions in which I want to thrive? Because, for example, if you have an ambition of a family and you're not creating those conditions now, family is just going to happen to you like in a blitz, in a second, and you won't be ready for it, and you're going to destroy your own family. Don't be that guy. I know you're going to make it. Everyone makes it. Don't get me wrong. Almost everyone makes it. But you have the power to influence how that happens and how you make it. That's the important part. That's the important aspect. I'm going to take a short break. All right, I'm back. So going back to what I said before, are you living the life that you want, or are you just living a life of quiet desperation? And you know the answer to that question. Just ask it of you. You don't have to label your life. You don't have to go as far as I said, just to call your life a life of quiet desperation. That's quite depressing, but that can often be the case for many people. But if you don't do what you want in your life, then you're not free. Like, if you engage in a relationship with women, and take this very seriously, I want you to take this super seriously, because guys don't get this. And I made this mistake in the past, and I woke up and my awakening was very harsh, believe me, because I go all in, like I go fully deep into my experiences. So I hope that this is of value to you. If you don't take care of the basic things that you need to thrive, then no one else is going to do that first. No one is coming to save you. And second, how dare you invite someone else in your life if you don't have your shit together? And I know if you're going to think that we're interdependent, we help each other, we do. But you need to be fully aware that the people you invite in your life have your highest interest as a part of theirs. That's, on the one hand, a compromise, and on the other hand, that is completely consensually, voluntarily mutual. It doesn't have to be reciprocal. It has to be mutual, because reciprocity will take care of itself, and you shouldn't even care about it if you're a guy who has his own frame. Like, you can't invite someone in your frame if you don't have a frame, and if you don't have the things that fulfill your life and make you feel good about yourself. If you're not living in the apartment that you like, if you're not drinking the things that you like, if you're not eating the food you don't like, if you're not happy with the body that you have, very important. If you are not happy with the way you express yourself, if you are not content with one thing in your life and you're not improving it daily and consistently, don't invite a woman in your life. And also, you need to be very mindful with modern women. And this is not a statement against women, but you need to be very careful with modern women, because you want submissive, cooperative, nurturing, supporting, and loving women. And I cannot stress this enough, because anything that invites an extra complexity, an additional level of complexity in your life, will ruin your life. And believe me, women can ruin your life. My previous relationship, when I ended it, I even left my former girlfriend the apartment so that she can have where to live, because I invited her to my place from some guy she was living with. She, say this shortly, she sabotaged one of the events that I had where I had a community that supported me and out of which I earned passive income, which basically brought food to my table. So if you have women like that, get away from them and you will be able to tell very quickly. Luckily, I was able to tell within 6 months. I mean, I ignored the obvious red flags. Just to be very clear, I ignored red flags. I was like, yeah, this must just be me. But that they turned out to be exactly what I saw them for. And I ended that relationship and I tried to patch things up in the meantime. That failed. That escalated awfully. The point of the story: choose women for whom you know are on your side and want you to succeed. And you will know this based on how they treat you. And remember one thing: if the woman doesn't respect you, she won't treat you well as a guy. And you as a man, let's be honest. Let's be very honest. And I'm going to go on a limb here. And you're probably not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to say it. You don't have to compromise your frame ever, because that frame is something you want a woman to walk into and for her to do that on her own accord. So you pursue yourself, you do what you pursue excellence, you do what you want in your life, and you thrive through nothing but that. Because your life in itself is fulfilling enough. And as I mentioned before, you don't want it to be more complicated than it already is. And that was exactly the point I wanted to make. You want a woman who is collaborative, cooperative by nature. And this is something she learns, guess where? In her home. This is why it's so important to select women that do come from stable homes. And I'm very sorry to say this because this is going to offend many people, but statistically, people coming from 2-person households are doing much better in this regard than, for example, children of divorced parents or single parents. And that is not the end all. This is not the recipe for success or whatnot, but it does play an important role and an enormous factor. Because when you recognize a pattern according to which you choose your partners, I don't like that word, girlfriends, wives to be, whatever. If you spin plates, you spin plates. I don't like the word plates though. I don't like referring to a woman as a plate. But you can see clearly. And when I saw that the women I was with were actually coming from single parent or divorced households, from parents that were divorced, things started making a lot of sense to me. And again, I'm going on a limb here, and this might offend people who are coming from families that are separated, but it does play an important and enormous role because of the fragmentation that begins in the childhood, especially if the separation happened before child turned 2 years old, especially in that time. And once again, if you invite women in your life, you want to have a certain level of excellence and frame into which that woman can enter. It's very simple. It's not rocket science. But if you're going to give your time as a man carelessly to women, not focus on your purpose, you're not going to focus on the things that you're doing, you're not improving yourself, you're fucked. You're severely fucked. And I can't even begin to tell you how fucked you are. Because most men don't wake up, ever. They just go around, they meet women who like them, and they're just, they have fun, they're having fun. Nothing wrong with having fun. But you should have fun after you're done with everything that you have to do. After everything that I'm done. There's nothing else to do. I've ticked all the things that I had to do to build that company or to build that business or to read that book, to improve myself in this way. And you reinforce that kind of behavior that's organic for you because you want to make it and invite a woman in that frame so that she doesn't get disappointed and leave. And it's up to her if she's going to leave or stay. When she realizes that you're a fraud. Don't be a fraud. Don't be a fraud. Take your life seriously. You only have this one life. You'll hear so many stories and that's how you lose your frame. You'll hear stories from people who are like, oh, but live in the moment. You're going to live forever. You're going to reincarnate. Those are all beliefs. You're here. You are now. You are doing this. And no one else should take that away from you. You have to have frame so that you can hold other people's frames and still remain in your own. There are people who have insane beliefs, and those beliefs will affect you. And if you fall in love with a woman, believe me, it's very easy to adopt her belief set. And it happened to me, and it almost ruined my life because I lost my own beliefs and I lost the things I believed in. And that actually resulted in that woman resenting me. You do not want that for yourself. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying history repeats itself, but patterns happen for a reason. And make sure that you have a solid frame. And I cannot stress that enough. And learn what frame is. If not, reach out. I can tell you what a frame is. I'm not going to teach you. I'm not supposed to teach you. I want this content to be free and available for men who want to actually improve themselves and get good with women, learn how to be with women, learn about women, female nature, their own nature. It's quite simple. If you want to have success with women, build charisma. So be charismatic, know how to speak, know how to express yourself. Don't just repeat someone else's words. That's so boring. Do you know how boring? Do you know how women can sense that? How women can sense if you're inauthentic? How women can sense if you're not being genuine? Because they have a radar for that. They can tell, and for a very good reason, because they need to survive too. Even more so than men, because we're more independent. And you need to have a hobby. For yourself, of course, not to impress women. Again, they will catch on to that. If you have a hobby and that's you, that hobby is you, that's an extension of you, and it makes you money, for example, and your life evolves around it, you're already in the 5% of men. You're already amongst the 5% of men who are not slaves to the industry, who are not dogs working for their boss, mindlessly, not even questioning whether they want that or not. They just go to work 9 to 5, just type in a box or whatnot, and go home and sleep. It makes you stand out because you naturally stand out. And if you're not that guy, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have a job, if you can support yourself, if you invest that money into something that you like, for example, if you work 9 to 5 and you go out and drink and party on weekends, you're fucked. You're doomed. You don't even know how fucked you are. Because if you're not investing the weekend building the alternative life that you want to have and the alternative lifestyle, or that's going to be the lifestyle one day, you're doing something very wrong. Because you're just prolonging the inevitable, which is you just working the same job. And there's no even guarantee in that, because you might get fired tomorrow or the company might shut down. And you're still giving your life and your fate and your destiny into someone else's hands. And that shows to me that you don't have a frame. That shows to me that you're frameless. And how can a woman be attracted to you if you don't have that? If you're listening to a boss. That's why women choose to work for men. That's why women choose to have bosses instead of enter relationships with men who can take care of them. It's the same dynamic, but women would clearly rather choose to work for a male boss and look up to him in such a way. It's the same thing. Man is telling her what to do. They accept it. They get paid for that. But women, for some reason, don't accept men who voluntarily and lovingly, like who are going to love them, take care of them, and provide for the household. But you need to, at any way, have a good income and to learn how to increase your income. And that is not difficult. That is really not difficult. You just need to ask the question. Just ask the question, how do I increase my income? How do I make more money? And voila, it happens because you make it happen. And then when you reinforce yourself with good habits and good behavior, you stand out, you're more wealthy, you can have more options. That's what gives you freedom as a man. You have more options, my friend. And options are what make you stand out. Options are what makes you attractive to women. And options are what's going to make you respect yourself more. You have no idea how beautiful that is. How beautiful it is to speak your mind, go to places where you want to go, train and work out whenever you want to do that. Meet with whomever you want to meet, not go to places you don't want to go, because no one is forcing you to. And when you learn to live a life like that, that's something completely different. And the most important thing, if you want women to find you attractive, and if you want to in any way be interesting to women, get some muscle. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, because people... And that's how I know that people are conditioned, both men and women, because they laugh at it. When I tell people, hey, go work out, go to the gym for 6 months and just, tell me what happened. Tell me what changes. Well, it's not all about looks. Actually, a lot of our perception is about looks. We form first impressions based on looks. We look at each other and we can tell within a couple of milliseconds whether we want to mate with that person or not. And I know I'm making this primal and Freudian and sexual, but that's also who we are. That's also our essence and our core. So first impressions matter, and your appearances matter. And if you're not working on your appearance, then I think you might be wasting your time. And don't forget, your appearance, external appearance, is actually who you are on the inside. It is a reflection of that. So if you say for yourself, for example, oh, I have a strong mind. My mind is a palace and it's so vast and beautiful. Fine. Do you have a body that matches that palace? Does the curtain match the drapes? Does it fit? Because if one doesn't accompany the other, you're failing to reach excellence once again. I think it's Aristotle who said that it's a shame for a man to not see and witness what his body is capable of. And I could not agree more. I could not agree more to something like that is so profoundly beautiful. Because a strong body is a monument to health. Because most of your problems, believe it or not, are created in your mind, if not all of them. And if you have a strong body that can be nurtured and that holds a healthy mind, I think you've actively resolved 90% of your problems. And I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that if you have a strong body, that you've done very well for yourself as a young man. But many people don't do that. Many people don't go to the gym. Many people don't work out. In the US, 70% of the population is obese. An even lower percentage of that is morbidly obese. Look around. You don't have to trust me. Look around. How many people are obese? How many people are not taking care of themselves? And imagine where you will be when you rise above that. Because that's also what game is. And game is the final aspect of this episode that I want to mention that you need to have if you want to get women. If you want to get with women and if you want to have healthy interactions with women. Learn the game. Learn game. Learn how to interact with women, how to flirt with women, how to respect women, how to respect yourself, and learn how to play with women. Not play as like a toy, but play like together, interplay. Learn how to do that because you don't want to be that doofus who doesn't know how to speak to women. It's embarrassing if you're a man and you don't know how to speak to women. And believe me, in most cases, women are also not going to know how to speak to you. So you're basically saving yourself. You're dodging a bullet. And that's also pre-selection. But what's also pre-selection is looks and appearance. Believe me, a woman, and you don't have to believe me, I keep saying believe me, but from a just a rational, logical standpoint, would you rather be with a fit woman or with an obese woman? Like if you were to look at them, like right now, you can see an obese woman, like that's a bit like she has like some muffin tops, and there's a woman that's fit. We both know the answer to that question. Of course, you're gonna choose the fit woman, but women won't tell you that. If you were to tell this to women, they'll say, oh, but the obese one might have personality. She might be like this, she might be like that, because women actually benefit from telling men, and there's an entire industry that tells men that they should be attracted to obese women. But I will address that in one of the upcoming episodes. For now, make sure you are charismatic, that you know how to speak and express yourself, that you're not stuttering. And if you stutter, work on that. If you be aware and mindful of that. Build confidence. Most of the flaws in one's speech also come as a consequence of lack of not just self-respect, but self-awareness, confidence. Build your confidence through the things you do. Magnum opus, have a body of work for yourself. Go to the gym, work out, read, have a hobby. And that will be your life, and you will be able to build it so beautifully. And you will attract beautiful women who actually can see what you're doing. And they'll help you in it. That's the beautiful process, that there are women that are going to help you build yourself up, because everyone benefits from that. And I think that's something men should genuinely experience, because it's a beautiful experience to meet women who, I'm not talking about choosing sides. There's no sides like, oh, women are on my side. But you choose women who actually see your work and who are actually interested in your work and who approach it from a non-judgmental standpoint. And that's very rare today, just so you know, guys. So focus on these aspects. Build yourself up. Don't chase women. Chase excellence. And don't even chase excellence. You are that excellence. But, awareness of the process changes the process, is the change of the process. And also, that's something that Krishnamurti says, which I really love. I love Krishnamurti. So the awareness of the process is the change of process. So if you can see yourself and observe yourself as you are, all those things you want to accomplish in life have already happened. The difference is you just making that step, and that's it. That's it. It's as simple as that. But you will learn that in time, my friend. In time. I'll keep this up to give you as much information as possible. Information is not enough, though, because you need to do work. Please don't forget that. Do the work. Focus on yourself. Focus on your purpose. Don't chase women. Respectfully, towards all women. I love women. But don't chase them. Because you're putting them on a pedestal, and they love attention. They want attention and validation. They don't want to be chased, though. They want to be respected and loved, too. And you should know how to give them that. And they should, of course, learn how to give that to you. So with that said, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening to me. If you're watching me, thank you for watching. I will provide the links below if you're watching me on YouTube. If you want to support me, please, because your support will matter a lot to me. Because I keep receiving increasing support lately, and I'm very grateful for that. And it encourages me to actually do more content. And keep up the good work, everyone. It's a beautiful time to build oneself and to witness one's life. I speak to many people who are complaining about their lives. And I can only be grateful and say that I'm at a good place, and I'm happy that there are people who can see that and support that. So thank you for that once again. And I look forward to sharing next episode with you very soon. Have a good one. Bye.